Alright folks, welcome back. And it is time for the Depths 101. Alright, so we just got done talking to Robbie here. Here's the handy dandy campfire. Alright, so before we get going here, I do want to kind of take a moment to point out some similarities in the two maps. So essentially, now this is going to exclude the sky maps. None of these, for example, the shrines on the sky islands, there will not be one on the mainland and one in the depths based on that alone. But between the other two maps, the mainland and the depths, they absolutely do line up. So down here it's a lightroot tree, on the mainland it's a shrine. So you can use that to kind of map out where things are on one map or the other. So for example, I know there's a lightroot tree here, so I know there's absolutely a shrine there. Now if you get up there and you're like, hey, there's no shrine, try finding a cave nearby. Sometimes they're inside caves. Alright folks, so in addition to the shrines and the lightroots matching up, you'll also notice the topography lines match up. Now this is by design. The two maps are inverted. So up here, we'd be walking up a gradual hill. Down here in the depths, you'd be walking down a gradual hill. Another good example is, so I don't have the map over here, but based on the upper map, and I see this formation here, this kind of steep mountainsides, hilltop, flat top. Down here I could expect to kind of walk into a giant hole, and I would need to be able to climb out. Now it's not 100%. There are areas that are, differed, but probably a good 80% of the map or so is absolutely identical topographical lines. Alright, another similarity. Notice this blacked out area. That is going to be no man's land. That's solid rock. We cannot get through there. What does that mean for the upper map? Water. So if it's water up here, it's solid rock down here. Now that's important because notice a lot of these rivers, they stretch quite a long distance. For example, this one. So down here in the depths, just, bear in mind that you would not be able to walk from one part to the other based on the fact this will be solid rock down here in the depths. Alright folks, so without any further ado, this is where we found Robbie. I think I already said that. What I'm going to do is just kind of navigate around a little bit and show you guys some of the tricks down here to the depths. The one main thing is going to be Gloom. That's going to be the biggest issue or enemy here. Yeah, there's actually a piece of the light suit here that I wanted to grab real quick, but honestly, in order to do that, I think I need to trigger one more lightroot tree, so we're going to do that here right now. If I can squeeze my pin in there anyway. Alright, so there's another issue or question kind of circulating around right now about this game, and that is the weapons that spawn down here. And one of the... Oh, good opportunity. So check this out. If you're wondering what to do with dazzlefruit, now, with the first couple of playthroughs, I was strictly saving those dazzlefruit for down here in the depths. I thought they were only effective against these Gloom stall monsters that pop up. And then somebody actually messaged or commented saying, hey, did you know you can kill, the stall monsters up here with those? Honestly, I did not. So, huge shout out to whoever alerted me to that little fun fact. So yeah, just remember those dazzlefruit, they'll take care of anything stall, whether you're in the depths or you're up above. Let's see here. I'm actually going to try to avoid this trouble altogether, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because they're close. I was really trying not to break these weapons yet. Actually, that one doesn't matter. Okay, so the way Gloom works, if you've ever played like Fallout 4, for example, where you have radiation damage, it's not necessarily damage in the regular sense, but what it does is it ticks away at your hearts from the other side. So it essentially reduces your maximum heart availability. The only way to fix that is with light. So you can either, you know, find a lightroot tree or warp to one for that matter, and that'll repair the damaged hearts. It won't replenish them, but it will repair them, so they will be replenishable. For example, as you can see, the heart just turned back to a normal empty heart there. Going back up topside, also on the mainland, whether it's day or night, that will also fix those broken hearts. Okay, this is why I wanted the other lightroot tree. Our prize is right over here. So that's ultimately where we're going to be heading. Now notice these stanchions with these ghost specter things on it. I'm a little too far away from it, but they're holding weapons. I'm going to come back to that. We'll circle back to that at the end of the video. But essentially, one of the big theories out right now is it has to be a weapon you broke, not a pristine one that you would find down here, but you would have had to have broke the decayed version up top. So, and not with any kind of weapon tip on it, so it has to be unfused. That's the theory. But honestly, you know, just like Breath of the Wild, guys, I wasn't happy unless I could repetitively, you know, reliably, I should say, and predictably be able to identify what's going on and what's triggering what to happen. Oh, since we're coming across Pose, do take the time to collect these while you're down here in the depths. You're going to find them all over the place, but essentially it's going to be a currency for the Brethren statues. And I'll get to that, you know, in a later video, but essentially those Pose will be traded in for... They can be clothing items, for example, the dark suit, I think it's called. And you can also trade those in for uniform items you've collected. For example, I'm about to grab this light suit here. The shirt, I believe. And once you do that, that will also become available to be bought with Pose being traded in for it. Alright, so since I'm at a mine, I'm going to take a quick moment. There is zonite down here, right below me, the regular nodes. And there's also like these walls. So you can bust those fake walls up and get some zonite out of there as well. Alright, another thing about the depths, lots and lots of bomb flowers, so do stock up while you're down here. And also these muddle buds, muddle, I'm saying that right? And you saw me pick up a puffshroom a little bit ago. Okay, so now this light suit, and guys, you know, I know there's absolutely, you know, other thoughts of school on this, but I honestly don't really care for it. I'm honestly much happier just kind of tossing out light bloom seeds in different directions, and that lights up the whole world. As you can see, I threw one down there and one up here, and you can see for a good distance exactly what you're doing and exactly what's around you. I'm going to try to find a real dark spot here just for a moment to kind of show you what I'm talking about and why I don't really use these, at least not for lighting up the environment. But as you can see, it just really lights up like right around you within arm's reach, so to speak. I'm kind of close to the light roots right now, so it's not really... That's probably a better view. So anyway, even when you upgrade the suit, it really doesn't expand that field of visibility very well, if any at all. So, I don't know, me personally, like I said, I just prefer the light roots, or the light seeds, or whatever, light bloom seeds, because it really just lights up your whole world. Okay, so again, that's my little spiel. Now, the light suit is good for one thing. I absolutely do take the time to upgrade it, especially early game, because honestly, it's super easy to upgrade. All these fireflies down here, I don't believe I've really come across any just yet, but, you know, they're out there glowing, and you think that there's a bunch of fairies sitting there, then you run all the way over there only to find out they are not fairies. They are just deep fireflies, I think they're called. Anyway, yeah, so you'll need those deep fireflies for upgrading that. You'll need the fish that glow up in the mainland caves. And you'll also need the mushrooms, the glow shrooms or whatever they're called, from up top side in the caves. So, you know, assuming you're collecting all this stuff, that's kind of why I'm telling you about it now. This is a very easy suit to upgrade, so I really just kind of use it for good defense. I don't really use it for anything other than that, so especially early game, I do like having that on for a good boost in, really, a good boost for defense rating. Alright guys, so from here I'm actually going to take a moment and show you something. Now this is kind of circling back to what I was saying earlier about these stanchions. Now all the ones by this lightroot tree, so I'll kind of show you here, and you can actually see these from the map, by the way. So notice the suspiciously round design here versus this one that isn't really round. This is right here a good candidate for a stanchion. You can actually see these things on the map. And there's another one right next to me, as you can see. And you know, it might not always be, but it's definitely a good candidate and worth your time to go search. So there's another one right there. Alright, so again, you can actually see these things on the map. Here's another one. Okay, another candidate here. Another one right here. Okay, so the rumor that's circulating about these weapons says you have to break, again, the decayed version unfused or untipped before they will spawn down here at these ghost stanchions. Now in this game, I created a new game file and I played it kind of quickly through, but I did absolutely go around. I broke absolutely everything royal. So I broke a royal broadsword, I broke a royal halberd, and I also broke a royal claymore. All untipped, by the way. And then I went around and I tipped all my knight's weapons. So then I had a fused knight's claymore, a fused knight's halberd, and a fused knight's broadsword. I did not touch anything travelers. I didn't even put one in my inventory. I didn't discover them. I didn't do anything. I completely ignored anything travelers. So now if that theory holds true, why aren't there royal weapons at these stanchions? As you can see, that's clearly a traveler's spear. So I don't believe there's any validity, and if you break it, it will spawn. Because again, having not touched any traveler's weapons, why is there traveler's weapons spawning? So now what I'm going to do is just kind of run by these stanchions here. And I purposefully kept soldiers' weapons in my inventory, and I got them close to breaking. As you can see, they're flashing red. And they're both tipped. So what I'm trying to do is kind of show you guys it doesn't matter whether they're fused or not. Okay, there's the traveler's sword. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll try to get a better angle on it. Definitely a traveler's sword. So what we're going to do is, I'm showing you guys all these traveler's weapons here. I'm going to go break those two soldiers' weapons that I have in my inventory that are tipped or fused. And then I'm going to come back around and show you these stanchions once again. And we're going to see what happens. So again, you know, just based off the fact I haven't broken anything travelers, and that's all that we see down here so far, I think that kind of already shows that's not, at least not independently, what is dictating these weapon spawns down here. Okay, this should be another traveler's spear, and of course I can't see it. Yep, definitely a traveler's spear. Okay, the reason I'm not going up there is because when you get right close to the ghosts, the game saves. And on one playthrough, I did that, and the weapons still changed. And then on the next playthrough, when I actually started recording a video, they did not change. So I ruled out that, you know, the save doesn't necessarily lock that in to be a Traveler's Sword forever. But for whatever the reason, I couldn't consistently predict what was going to happen either. So in this game, I'm actually just going to kind of keep my distance from them. And then I'm going to break the two weapons I talked about. So that was my soldier's spear that just broke. And then this is going to be the soldier's broadsword that I'm about to break. Okay, so now we have effectively broken both of those soldiers' weapons. So now the experiment is what's going to happen at these stanchions that are spawning spears and broadsword. Now I haven't gotten far enough away from this one yet. I guarantee it's still a Traveler's Sword. You kind of have to leave the area. And these guys are about to hand me my butt. Okay, definitely Traveler still. Okay, so what I'm going to do... We're going to... You know what? I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. We're going to... Oh, there's some fireflies I was talking about. This Lizzle doesn't scare them off, so Deep Firefly, I was right. That's what they're called. So yeah, take the time to collect those, and like I said, the glowy fish and the glowy mushrooms up top. And this light suit is as good as upgraded. Okay, now remember, these two stanchions, those were Traveler's Spear and Traveler's Broadsword. Okay, that is still a Traveler's Broadsword, or Traveler's Sword. But look what happened over here. That's a Soldier Spear, folks. Now remember, the first time I approached the stanchion, just to kind of show you where we're at on the map, that was absolutely a Traveler's Spear. It is now a Soldier's Spear. So remember, the only Soldier's Spear I've broken was that Soldier's Spear you just watched me break across the way over there, and it was tipped. So that already shows us it doesn't matter whether it's tipped or untipped, but you absolutely do have to break the weapon in order for it to spawn down here. But notice, it's only soldiers. It wasn't royal, which I also broke, and it wasn't knights, which I also broke. So in addition to, I think there's minimums and maximums. So for example, all my playthroughs, I never found anything royal here ever. So that tells me here in this region, the best you can get is soldiers. Because I've never seen knight stuff here either. But as you travel further north, things become more predominantly knights' weapons. You'll also find travelers and, you know, I don't know, soldiers stuff, but you'll start seeing a lot more knight stuff popping out. And then the only royal stuff I've found is way up north. So again, it's got to be regional. That's got to have some kind of a factor at play here. Otherwise, again, having broken knights and royal weapons, why am I not seeing those here ever? So I also think there's some randomization going on. Now, the constant seems to be, if it's a spear stanchion, it's always going to be a spear. But it's not always the same spear. So in one game, this might be a Traveler's Spear, and it's always a Traveler's Spear. In another game, that might be a Soldier's Spear, and it's always a Soldier's Spear, assuming I've broken that weapon. Okay, see, that's still a Traveler's Spear. So, I don't know if it's truly random, but I do know there's always going to be a spear here. So, you know, I'm not sure now what's determining why isn't that changing to a Soldier's Spear when the other one did. At first I thought, well, maybe, you know, I was just too far away, or I wasn't far enough away, you know, and it just didn't change. I thought maybe it hadn't been long enough since I broke the weapon. Maybe it didn't register yet. But honestly, I've tried different things, like warping away, going back up topside. Okay, that's still a Traveler's Sword too, so that's super frustrating. Last time I was able to get a Soldier's Broadsword here. But again, guys, it's different. See, different game, different attempt, and I'm getting a different result. That's why I'm kind of leaning toward there's got to be an element of random here going on. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and go away from this little area for right now, and I'm going to hit those other points I marked. And there should be a couple more spots here. There's one. There's another one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now see if I've got more soldier stuff spawning. I understand this is probably going to drag on a little long, this video. But honestly, guys, this is... Excuse me, this is one of those hot button topics that's out there right now about the game. And guys, this is just like Breath of the Wild all over again. This is why I restarted that game like 50 times. I was trying to figure things like this out. And things just weren't making sense. So at some point you just have to do, you know, process... Okay, there's another soldier spear. Boom, baby. So yeah, at some point, you know, you just kind of process of elimination. Okay, you know, what changed? What happened before this triggered what? For example, like silver enemies. Like, you know, nobody knew what was really spawning silver enemies. So, you know, I just got to work, and I've got my process here, as you can see, just trial and error, and then process of elimination. Okay, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, let's try something else. Like Fang and Bone items, for example. That took a lot of restarts to finally figure out it was Divine Beasts that were doing it. But anyway, so like I said, this is just kind of like the next mystery in the Zelda games. Okay, there it is, guys. Soldier's Broadsword. So there you have it. It clearly doesn't matter whether the weapon is tipped or not. And there's clearly some kind of randomization going on here because right before I recorded, I went through to the stanchions I visited first. And it was Soldier's Spear, Soldier's Broadsword, Soldier's Spear. And then I tried to record a video, and then they all stayed Travelers. I was like, wait, what? Like, what did I do different? Nothing. So then I did it again, and then I had kind of like a hit and miss, kind of like I did on this walkthrough. Like I had the Soldier's Broadsword, and then this one was the Soldier's Spear, and then this one stayed a Traveler's Spear. So, you know what? It's 3 different attempts now from the save point, exact same save point. I haven't been anywhere else, so I haven't done anything else. So this is why I'm leaning toward there's some kind of a random element to this. And as you can see, this is still Travelers. Now granted, now keep in mind, I wasn't anywhere near this area when I broke those weapons. I was pretty far south of here, closer to those other stanchions that I first visited. So, you know, proximity doesn't seem to matter either. That was another thought I had. Well, maybe it's proximity to where the weapon breaks. Whether you're on the mainland or down here, maybe there's some kind of radius or something. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. So, again, I think it's more regional. This beginning area down here under Central Hyrule, your best bet is going to be to find soldier stuff. Travel a little further out, you'll start seeing more knight stuff. Again, assuming you broke the weapons. And then again, that royal stuff was really on the edges. And you know, I've only played the game long enough to get up that far once, but I did, in another save file, go up there, like very early game, like right off the Great Sky Island, and I found no royal weapons, because I hadn't broken any. So I just kind of validated, okay, the weapons definitely got a break. It's not by region by default. It'll only spawn there if it's been broken. Alright, so I'm going to check this one last one and see what we've got. See if it's Travelers or Soldiers. But I think you guys get the point. Best advice I can give you is right off the Great Sky Island, go over to Hyrule Castle, get one of everything Royal, one of everything Knights, one of everything... Again, we have Travelers here. One of everything Soldiers. And then that way, when you come down here in the depths, no matter what region you're in, if that weapon will spawn there, you'll be able to collect those weapons. Now, why does all this matter? I don't think I've even talked about that yet. Before I actually pick up a weapon, I want to go down here and see if this is still a Traveler Sword, if that has changed. Because another thing that I disproved on my last video was... some people are asking the question, well, if you approach the stanchion in the game saves, does that lock that weapon in? Will it always just stay the Traveler's weapon? And the answer was no. Like, on a couple of these attempts, they changed, you know, after I broke the weapons. And that was after I had approached them and I had triggered that autosave. So, now you guys saw me approach this thing earlier, and the autosave did trigger. So again, I'm just curious to see if it changed now, because I got so far away from it. And I've been gone for a bit of time now. Okay, unfortunately that's still a traveler's weapon. But, you know, I can't show it to you on video. I guess you'll just kind of have to trust me. On a couple of these attempts trying to figure this stuff out, I did approach these. The game did autosave. I went off and I broke the weapons. I came back, and the weapon had changed. But honestly, I'm not happy until I can predict and dictate that. Now, obviously, I can't do that if it's truly randomized. And I don't know what I did different in the two different times where one I found it did change and one I found it didn't change. That's kind of, again, why I keep coming back to maybe it's random. Alright, folks, so I know that was kind of lengthy. It's just, like I said, such a hot button topic right now. I thought I really need to kind of, you know, get into detail on this one. Matter of fact, this might be the most important video I make for this game. I guess time will tell, but again, these depths weapons down here, how do they spawn is a big question. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually demonstrate the difference in the decayed weapon and these pristine weapons that you get down here in the depths. So I'm going to grab this spear. Even though it's travelers, I'm just going to kind of show you guys the power of the pristine weapon. So the base level attack power, it's not going to be super impressive, but as you can see, it's got some attack power to it. You know, that one's already 10, and it's just a spear. So, you know, these weapons, you know, there's a 12 right there on that soldier's broadsword. So already the base level attack power is pretty decent. But guys, the durability, you're going to have them for a while. Especially if you attach some kind of weapon head to it. So this is, you know, why I take the time to go to Hyrule Castle. This is the bread and butter. Did I not drop those things? This is the bread and butter of weapon building and why I kind of did things in the order I did. Okay, and just for demonstration purposes, I will attach something to that traveler's spear as well. Okay, so now notice, that was just a traveler's spear, but it's pretty doggone close to the soldier's spear in attack power. So, you know what, travelers, soldiers, either way, you're going to have a good, strong, higher attack power weapon, and it's going to be with you for a while. It's not going to break right away. It's going to have some durability to it. Alright, so let's get to work. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this bad boy nest, and while I'm doing that, I'm also going to show you guys the other fruits and, you know, stuff that we collect down here. The muddle bud and the puffshroom. Okay, so there's your puffshroom. Now, I call these things the ninja shroom. And I'm about to show you why here in a second, if I can find the enemies. But this is my ninja shroom, and boy is it fun. Like, this just kind of gives a little bit more flavor to the environment. And again, guys, you can use these up top or down below. They work the same. Okay, now notice, he's got a black question mark above his head. That means he can't see you. If you walk into this cloud, nobody can see you either. Notice these guys, well, he got awful close to me, but he still didn't see me. So now use this to your advantage. You can get in here and do a lot of killing while you're hidden. Nothing will hit back. And of course, you know, it is timed, so you've only got so much time to kind of get in there and do all this. But again, it's just another tool, or it's a new tool, to add to your toolkit here, to use in an effort to keep your battlefield under control. So what I like to do is if things kind of get hairy on me, that's when I'll break out something like this. And, you know, use it so I can kind of reset the battlefield, regain control, and go from there. Now, all these bad boy nests down here are going to be loaded with zonite, so always, folks, take the time to collect this stuff. That's going to be your currency for crystallized charges, and it's also going to be your currency to build with. You know, later on when we get the right superpower for that. So just, you know, every zonite node you come across, take the time to farm it. Also, most of these bad boy nests are going to have some kind of treasure chest. And granted, they're not going to be great. It's going to be, you know, like bloom seeds or sundelion or whatever the case may be. But, you know, do take the time to collect your chests while you're down here. That'll only help you later when you're trying to treasure hunt for the good stuff, like the costume items. We got moblins. This ought to be fun. Okay, so now this one won't create a smoke screen, but what it's going to do is it's going to kind of... And notice there was a little bit of spread there. They were really close together, so that one muddle bud affected 2 enemies. But those 2 are going to pick fights with 2 more, so it really keeps up 4 enemies. It keeps 4 tied up right now. So what you can do is use that to your advantage. Let them fight. Check that out. He did the battle cry. That was awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen or noticed that before. That was pretty good. Alright, so, yeah, so that's the muddle bud. Again, it's just, you know, another tool you can use. Unique to Tears of the Kingdom here versus the other game. And you can have a lot of fun with it. And again, you can use this down here in the depths, or, whoops. Or you can use it up top side against enemies up there as well. And he's the last enemy, so I don't know what he's going to do. I guess just kind of stand there and do his battle cry. For no reason. Oh no, if there's no other enemies, he's still going to come after you. That's right. All this is doing is it's confusing him, so no matter what's around, he's going to go after it. And since now I'm the only thing left around, he's going after me. Alright, so anyway, folks, that is pretty much the Depths 101. I really hope that helps you all out. And I wanted to kind of do this way. That way, if you guys wanted to kind of explore on your own, I've given you a roadmap to be able to do that. Alright, folks, I hope that helps. Best of luck to you, and happy hunting.